Okay. So yesterday we have discussed about the introduction of Tableau and what Tableau can do and what are the Tableau products and all. So we have discussed about basically the architecture of Tableau. So today we are going to discuss about what is in-memory concept and what is difference between dimension and measure, and what is the difference between OLTP and OLAP. So let's get started. So after completing this session 1 slides, we'll go to the session 2. So in-memory concept is basically, is my screen visible? Okay. So in-memory concept is basically, we have it in only few reporting tools. So Tableau is one of them. So it basically uses capability of the RAM to store the data. It compresses the data and it will store in the RAM. So in that way, every time it will not hit the Oracle server or SQL server. So the data is getting stored in this particular viewer system or in the server system. It will get stored. So in that way, we are going to save the time while creating the dashboards or while operating the dashboard in the server. So let's say if I'm dragging any column from the Tableau dashboard, so it will be very simple for me to fetch the information. So I can just see the data in that particular column in fraction of seconds. Even if you have millions of records, as the data is getting stored in the RAM itself, so it will be very easy for us to pull the data. So that is what is the in-memory concept, where RAM is being used in that. So that is where Tableau is faster when compared to other tools. And we also have a pre-calculated things where we do on-the-fly calculations. So Tableau can also do some on-the-fly calculations. So I'll just try to show you in Tableau. So this is a sample store that I have connected. So this is the data that we have seen yesterday, which is sample superstore data, where customers go and purchase products and then what is the sale amount and all. So all those informations will be there. So here we can see the customer names. So let's drag customer name. And let's take products. So what are the products that are being purchased by the customers? So this person has made a purchase of these many items. So 6 items. And what is the sale amount of that particular item? So you can just drag and drop, or you can double click on that. So this is the amount, $13 to $43. So this is the amount that they have spent on each product. So this is what is the information that I'm able to get it. So I also want to know the profit. So I'll double click on this. So I can see sales and profit out of that particular product. So if I sell this product for $43, so I will get a profit of $5. So this is what it is, but I want to find out profit margin. So I want to find out profit margin for each product. So the calculation for profit margin is profit divided by sales. So I'll write a small calculation. So I'll just write the calculation name as. So I'm just trying to explain what is on the fly calculations. So if I write sum of profit divided by sum of sales. So this is a simple calculation where I'm doing the division of these two. Sum of profit divided by sum of sales. So this is profit margin. So if I double click on this, so I can see this one. So I need to convert this into percentage. So I'll right click and make format and click on percentage. So this is giving me negative profit, which is minus 20%. So I'm not getting profit from this particular product. So I can see negative profit. So why I call it as a on-the-fly calculation is because it is not restricted to only to this particular worksheet. So here I'm calculating on the basis of product. So what is the sum of sales divided by sum of profit? So what it actually does is it is doing 13, sorry, minus 3 divided by 13, which is giving me 1 second. So in decimal places, it will have some decimal places. That is why, yeah, let's have some 2 decimals. So now let's divide. So minus 2.52 divided by 12.62. So which is around 20%. So we have to do it into 100. So that is what we see here. So this is not only restricted to product level. So if I go to the next sheet and if I take region, and here also I will take sales and profit. So the same calculation which I have written here, so I can use it for this. So here what I'm doing, sum of profit divided by sum of sales. So I'll just take this and I'll make it as format percentage. So here also it is doing same thing, which is sum of profit 39,685 divided by 503,171. I'm doing for the central into 100, which will give me 7.8%. So this is how I'm able to calculate. So the numerator and denominator is keeping on changing. So it is not storing this value, this particular value. So this is not storing this particular value. And whenever, so it is dynamic. So the numerator and denominator is keep on changing based on the dimension that is being used. So that is why Tableau uses on-the-fly calculations. So if you write some queries in SQL or Oracle, so what happens is it will create a column which will become a static column. So let's say if you have created a column for product level, so these numbers will become static numbers. So you may not see the, let's say if you change the dimension, you may not see the difference. It will still be the same numbers. But in case of Tableau, it is not like that. If you change the dimension, let's say if you want to calculate on the basis of customer, so you can see on basis of the customer. So this person has made a purchase of this much, $86, and got a profit of $129. And the profit margin that came from this person is 14.6%. So this is how we can calculate. So that's how we can do on-the-fly calculation, and Tableau uses RAM to store the data. So that is why it uses in-memory concept. In-memory concept is basically Tableau uses RAM to store the data, and it compresses and it stores the data instead of pulling the data from the different servers. So that's why it is faster compared to the other different traditional tools. So now let's go to what is dimension and measure. So dimension and measures are common in any database or any data warehousing concepts. So this is a basic fundamental that everybody should have knowledge about. So measures, in the name itself, it mentions measures, which is measurable. So which is measurable. So it has to be a number. It can be a whole number or an integer or a float. Integer or float, which can be calculated, or measured. So the examples for it is, so numbers like sales, profit, ratings, all these are measures. So which can be mathematical, which can be used for mathematical calculations, which can be used for mathematical calculations, where you can add them, subtract them, can do all sorts of mathematical operation, and you can also use aggregation functions like sum, min, max, count, count distinct. So like this you can do aggregations as well. And now let's discuss about dimensions. So dimensions are descriptive. So these are like names, places, regions, dates, employee ID. All this comes under dimensions. So dimensions are those fields which cannot be aggregated. So we cannot do mathematical operations as such. So we cannot add two employee IDs. Like we cannot add two different names. So let's say you have an employee ID like 10050 and 10049. So you cannot simply add these two. It looks like a number, but it is still not a measure. Why? Because employee IDs are not supposed to be added. So it is to differentiate between the employee to employee. So it is a dimension. And numbers which can be used for mathematical operations, those are called as measures. And Tableau has the capability to understand what is dimension and what is measure. So now let's see in Tableau itself. So let me create a few columns, and let me show you how Tableau will identify the dimensions and measures. So now I'll take a few examples. So this is name, salary, and date. So this is date, and I will also enter profit. And I will also enter employee ID. Yeah. So meanwhile, you guys can enter what is the dimension. So whether name is a dimension or salary is a dimension or what it is. So just mention in the comments what is dimension and what is measure. So I'll just connect this to Tableau meanwhile. Just type in the comments which column is dimension and which column is measure. So I'll just save this file to connect to Tableau. And I will also enter city, Hyderabad. And we also have postal code. And postal code will also look like a number, but it is not a number. I mean, we cannot use it for mathematical operations. So please mention in the comments which is dimension and which is measure. So we have 7 columns. So mention which column is dimension, which column is measure. So I'll just connect this to Tableau. So to connect to Tableau, so there are multiple ways. You can click on this button, which is a new data source, or you can go and click on Tableau icon. Here also you can see the same options.